welcome back. You are in the last video. It's exercise 9 and I'm going to call it the donut game. Now we'll show you how this all works, but what we're going to be doing in this exercise, which I think is going to be your favorite because it's certainly mine, is we're going to be creating our own custom built blocks, not just the ones over to the left hand side. And we're going to be using a camera. So let's see how we're going to build this program. Well, first up, let's call it that. Let's call it the donut game. So donut game. And we are going to do a couple of things. We're going to get rid of this sprite. And would you believe it, we're going to go and get a donut. And we shall make it half that size. Now you will recall that we've done a catch game where we had the object wander, moving backwards and forwards, catching. Well, in this game, it's not going to be a sprite, it's going to be you who's doing the catching. So we're going to need a couple of things. First of all, we've got our sprite. And secondly, we're going to create another one, and we're going to do this ourselves. And we're going to make waves. So we're going to have a fill. The outline is not going to happen. And make sure that you have your square showing. Now, you might want to maximize just to make sure that you can see your square. But here we go, I'm going to use that and I'm going to draw a rectangle. Okay, now I've gone and got my rectangle, but I want to make waves. So I'm going to go to my eraser and I think we'll have it there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the impression of making a wave. So we've got this and that, and then we'll have it going down here, and we're there. And maybe I'll just take the top off that. So here is our wave, and I'll just take a square bit off because there we go. So there's our wave. Now we will go to code. And we want to make sure that this sprite is always in front of the donut. So please make sure for sprite 1, we'll call it C. And then we're going to go with a control of when clicked. Sorry, an event of when clicked. Okay, once we've got this in, we will need to go to looks to find the go-to front block. So that's going to be here. So go and drag that and put it there and make sure that it is on front. So whenever we click, this will always be at the front. Okay, so now we've got lots to do with catching donuts. First of all, we have used this block and we're going to use this now, and we're going to be creating, as I've said, our own custom built block. This is how we do it. We're going to go My Blocks and we're going to make a block which we're going to call Go to Top. We say great, okay, we've got it, but now we need to define what is this go to top actually going to do. Well, into motion, we're going to go to X, and we're going to say for Y, a very high line, 250. In fact, the 250 is going to be off the board because we're actually going to see donuts dropping from the sky. But like we did with the catching game, we're going to use a random pick because we want these, not just one donut, but several, to appear at different points along the top. So we're going to say from minus 250 all the way up to 250 plus. So that is what our block is going to look like. Now that I've gone and defined it, if I was to go to my blocks, you'll see that we've got our own block there. Let's go and do another one, and this time we'll call it bounce up. We click OK. And the bounce up is going to have a little bit more code in it. First of all, we're going to need to get a sound. So let's go to sounds. We don't want chomp or we don't want bite. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And what we will need is a popping sound. You can, of course, choose your own sound, but pop will do me fine. And I want to start the sound of pop, so we have that. Next, I want a repeat until. So essentially, we are going to be showing the action of bouncing whenever we make contact with a donut. So to do that, we're going to go to the control. We will do repeat until, and we're going to put it in virtually a for loop, forever loop. We're going to go get a sensing, and we are wanting, we're going to get an operator, and it's going to be a more than. And we want to say the Y position is more than 180. Then, if we make contact with this donut, it's going to do a very little jump, so change Y by 10. It's going to follow this block of code, go to top. So it's going that donut's going to jump, and then it's going to head up above this area here, and we can use our own custom built block. And we don't want to we want to actually delete it as well, so it's going to, this one's going to delete, but it's going to reappear up here somewhere along the top. So we need to delete this clone, and you'll find it under control. Okay, so we are deleting clones, but we also need to make them. So what we have is up here is when clicked, we are going to hide the one that has just been touched. Again, we're going to have a forever loop. We're going to wait for 1 second. And then we're going to create a clone. And we say create clone of myself, that the myself is the donut, not you. Create clone of myself. All right, so we've got 3 chunks there. We've defined 2 blocks, and we've gone and created or duplicated or cloned our sprite. So on to the next bit, the fun bit. Here we go. So when I start as a clone, that's this one here, we want to show it. Now, hopefully you have a camera, because if you don't, that'll be a shame, but I'm sure you've got an inbuilt one. You'll need to go down to the plus, and you will need to click video sensing and click allow. And then up comes an entirely new block. Well, you will need to turn on the video. And then you're going to need to instruct the clones to go to the top. So into our block, go to top. Put in a forever loop. And then we want these donuts to drop. So we're going to go to motion, change Y, as change Y by, then we want them to go down, so it's a -5. Then we want to respond by us breaking or showing that we're touching these donuts. So we will need to go to an if statement, and we'll say underneath, if the video motion over here, if the video motion on the sprite, let's go and get an operator first of all. So we need this one. So then to video, and then get the video. So video motion on the sprite is more than 20, and basically that's basically saying the amount of contact we're going to make on our falling donuts. We want to, if we make a good enough contact, we want to create a bounce up bit of code to take place. Then we have one more thing to do, which is under control, want to put in another if, and basically we're saying go to a operator where we are putting in our less than, and it says if the Y position, so let's say we miss a donut and it gets down to less than -150, then we just want it to go to the top anyway. So there's a lot of code there, and I would have a play with it. Take things out, put things in, see how it works. But let's see what happens. Now I'm going to go and maximize this and play. And here we have falling donuts. And as you can see, if you can get this to work, then what you can do is create a variable and make a score. Or have lives, and if a donut falls, then you're going to lose a life. But there you go. I'm having too much fun here. So there you go, catching donuts. Thanks for watching all of these videos. I hope you've enjoyed them, and you are now well placed to go and start creating your own Scratch game. So have fun with that, and I look forward to seeing what you can do. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.